Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Zach Lesage here, and we are back here on the Rare Candy YouTube channel. So I hope that y'all have been having a great week. I know that I've been, and in the past, I guess, couple weeks, we've seen AbilityZard, which is Reshiram Charizard GX tag team with kind of like a Ninetales engine with Jirachis and stuff like that. Absolutely dominate our metagame. I know that I've personally featured a video on our channel, so if you haven't checked that out, check it out. It's on our channel, pretty recent. But since then, I've changed this list, I think, enough to make it worthwhile for you to rewatch the video. And this is kind of like a redo of it. The deck is now, I kind of coined it Welder and Friends. So basically, it's AbilityZard without ReshiZard. I didn't want to call it like AbilityZard, no Zard, or anything cringy like that. But it's definitely one of those things where this deck has kind of evolved over the past couple weeks. And I feel like a lot of lists at Atlantic City are going to start looking like this. So we can see, here's the list right here. So feel free to take that screenshot or whatever you want to do with it. And I just kind of want to briefly walk you through this, play a couple games, just so I can release all the information for you before Atlantic City. And as of right now, I feel like this is the list that I'd be playing for Atlantic City. The only thing that I'm debating right now is actually cutting one of the Turdinators for a Ditto from Detective Pikachu with the Copy Anything attack. So this is because in best of 3, the difference between best of 1 and best of 3 is in best of 3 stall decks can exist. So decks will play like a Rangaroo, and you can copy. I think there's going to be a lot of this kind of deck with or without ReshiZard because it's almost the exact same deck regardless. So I feel like Copy Anything is going to be live a lot of the times. I could copy a Turdinator, a Victini, a Volcanion, whatever I need to copy with Ditto. So that's the one thing that I'm debating is cutting a Turdinator for a Ditto. I tried it out at a League Cup. It didn't go well, but I think League Cups are different than a best of 3 event. So let's just, and I guess we can kind of go over the general strategy here. So it kind of looks like a theme deck, but it plays out a lot more vicious than that. We got Welder, and you use Welder to power up your Pokemon, and we have various attackers in the form of Turdinator, Blacephalon, Heatran GX, Victini, Volcanion, and Tapu Fini. So we want to power up energies. We could discard them from our board. So you could attach them to anywhere, even Jirachis or Dedennes. We can attack with Fireball Circus, attack with that of our hand. We can move our energies together to use a huge Hot Burn or a more efficient Steaming Stomp. We have Infinity, which can get our energies back into our discard pile. We have options to power up more energies with Flare Starter, especially if you go second, and usually only when you go second. And we have High Heat Blast, which is an efficient way to knock out your opponent's Pokemon with 110 or less. Popular Pokemon including Turdinator, Ninetales, Jirachi, Wooper, Poipole, things like that. And then we have Tapu Fini here, which is normally a counter scene for Blacephalon GX. So basically an anti-me counter. So if you have a lot of Blacephalon in your area, or if you're expecting a lot for AC, then we got Tapu Fini here. That's great. It can attack for a single colorless energy. Don't let that worry you. But it's also really good if your opponent has a Blacephalon or another Ultra Beast in play. I actually fell into a situation at a recent League Challenge where I saw an opponent started with a Heatran GX and put a Blacephalon on the bench. Tapu Fini was able to knock out a Heatran GX for 200 damage for 1 energy. That's huge numbers, super efficient for this deck, and I wouldn't want to have it any other way after seeing that. I feel like almost every version of this deck is playing Blacephalon, and then with Blacephalon GX being a deck, and there being Poipoles in that deck, and then you have Quagnag, which I just filmed a video the other day for and put it on the channel, so again, if you haven't seen that, check that out. That deck plays Poipole, and then you have the deck that Xander Perot played at the DC Open this year to win with kind of like a Naganadel control deck. So Ultra Beasts are alive and they're breathing well and they're doing their things. So I definitely want to make sure that we are having counters to those decks, especially in a field as large as what we're expecting for some of our major events coming up, whether you're going to be in Europe, North America, or South America, because we have 3 on the same weekend. So beyond that, we have a base where Ninetales in a format without Guzma We could bring things up with 9 Temptations. I feel like that sounds like a pretty great card to have, considering we could juggle our energies with Fire Crystals, Fiery Flints, and Giant Hearths, or we could just naturally have fire energies in our hands. Wrap that up in a consistent base with things like Dedenne, GX, and Jirachi, and that's what we got for this list. So let's quickly peep through it. So Turtonator, obviously the card reads out, it doesn't have any abilities, no nothing. Just an uncommon card from Dragon's Majesty, one of these subsets. Explosive Jet allows you the mobility in the game. You can move your your energies can be on the board as fluid as you want. So in multiple games that I've done well at League Cups, and so far with this deck, I have a first, a second at a cup, and a first at a challenge. I got a couple more cups while I'm making this video, so we'll see how I do there. So we got Explosive Jet, discard any amount of fire energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 50 for each card you discarded in this way. So even if you have energies on Jirachi's other Pokemon that you're planning to attack, Turtonator can crush them all up and hit for huge damage. 6 energies knocks out a ReshiZard, 4 energies knocks out a Blacephalon GX. You got everything in between there. This card is a super efficient attacker for only 1 energy. And if you waste all your energy on board, or if you want to hit above 150 on the first turn, we do have Blacephalon with Fireball Circus. So the biggest downfall about Turtonator is it can only do as much damage as you have energies in board. So if you had 0 energies in board before, you can go Welder, attach 2, and then attach an energy manually for your turn. That means that Explosive Jet's cap is always at 150. That's not the case with Blacephalon, because Fireball Circus, you could go Welder, attach 2 to Blacephalon, attach an energy, and then you can discard any amount of fire energy cards from your hands. So depending on how I also decide, regardless if I go for Ditto, if I decide to not go for Ditto, I might cut this Turtonator for a second Blacephalon, because Blacephalon is a more efficient attacker. It's just more destructive to your hand, where you're going to be discarding a lot more fire. In a game where you have Victini Prism prized, or your opponent plays a Wobbuffet from Lost Thunder, Fireball Circus could be detrimental to your game state. So that's why I kind of have it at 1 right now, and especially how I explain the Tapu Fini play as well. If other people are playing Tapu Fini, I don't want them to walk through this deck. So Fireball Circus, you could discard 4 energies from your hand, knock out a Dedenne, 5 energies, knock out a Pikarom, 6 energies, you could knock out whichever Tag Team GX Pokemon you want currently in the game. Burning Road, it's almost the exact same card as Turtonator, except you keep your energies in play. Now, don't let that surprise you, but this Heatran's probably getting knocked out immediately after it's getting knocked out. Like after you use Hot Burn GX for 6 energies or 5 energies or whatever you need for the knockout. This deck play is very similar to Blacephalon to Ganadel, and the reason why I say that is if you're not taking the one-shot knockout, don't try to take the attack. Just sacrifice something else. Keep your energies in play, because there's enough healing, there's enough just super strong cards in this format, and that's what you got to deal with. So whether you're using the efficient Steaming Stomp for 3, or using Hot Burn GX to knock out a huge Pokemon, or even just for a single energy to knock out a Jirachi, this card can move your energies to the Heatran, allowing you to spread the energies like you can for Turtonator. Victini Prism Star. So this card's often misunderstood, and it's because it has Infinity. You don't want to get a lot of energies in your discard pile. Now this deck, it only plays 13, so it can't really knock out anything that has a lot of HP, but my goal is to basically knock out only GX Pokemon, not Tag Team GX Pokemon with this card. Just Ninetales, bring up, knock out a Dedenne. After I knocked out some of their more important Pokemon with Ninetales, I just kind of want to feed on what's left. So that's really where it is. My rule of thumb with this deck is to make sure that you always have at least 2 fire energies and a Welder left to attack with Infinity. And whether that means you have a Fire Crystal or not, Infinity is an attack you always want to have access to. When you're checking through your prize cards at the beginning of the game, make sure that you have your Victini. So I think that would be super helpful for everyone. We got Volcanion here. So I know a lot of lists aren't really running this card, but I feel if you go second and go for Flare Starter, build up a big board, go for High Heat Blast, something that can knock out a Turtonator and Mirror or Ninetales. This card's pretty efficient in my opinion. Against any other matchup like Mewtwo Mew, just loading up energies in play can help you outspeed them quite often. And Vulpix, little cutie, got the Fox Pokemon here. Really simple card here. I haven't really used Tail Whip too much in tournaments. That's a last ditch effort because most opponents can get around Tail Whip with a switch, even if you do flip the heads. But you do want to have a couple copies of this on board so that you have access to gusting your opponent's Pokemon up however you like, because it evolves into Ninetales. I have attacked with Flame Tail a couple times to knock out Jirachis late game, but that's really rare. Feel free to load up energies on Ninetales though, because you could always discard them with Turtonator or Heatran GX. And we got Dedenne GX here. Pretty simple dump and draw. It's like the Shaman, the Tapu Lele, the Uxie, whatever Pokemon you've played in any format. Usually every deck has a Pokemon that helps you draw. This deck's no different. And this deck actually has another one. Stellar Wish makes your deck a little bit more consistent, allowing you to grab some trainer cards off the top 5 cards of your deck. We can get around the sleep by playing either Switch or Escape Board. Now, sometimes you don't want to send up Jirachi after, when you're going to a Stellar Wish. If you have a guaranteed knockouts, you might leave yourself needing to play another Switch or using Stellar Wish just to get a Switch. So you're just kind of giving yourself a chance to run out of the thing. Sometimes you just want to hit face with your Pokemon, and that's one of the most important things in Pokemon right now, the game overall. Tapu Fini already briefly explained it, but if you're playing against any Ultra Beasts, especially the ones that are weak to Water type, that seems like it's going to be the absolute best way to use this card. Beyond that, it's not attacking at all. So if you don't see any Ultra Beast, don't see any sign of Ultra Beast, just discard this card or put it away with Pokemon Communication. Acrobike. So it's kind of weird to be playing 2 copies of this card in the deck, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. It's just gives you that little extra reach off of a Jirachi, or it gives you a little bit of a consistency boost. You can thin out kind of 2 cards out of your deck, one to the hand, one to the discard pile. So try not to hit the important cards with it. I know you can't control it, but it's one of those things where I feel like sometimes you need that extra little reach, that extra little push to get those cards, and Acrobike seems to fit in nice. I know some players have experimented with Pokegear and stuff like that in this deck. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that, but it's definitely one of those things where I feel like Acrobike's just the best out of the worst that we have for this deck. Cherish Ball, again, card that the list originally ran a lot of copies of, but with this deck only playing 3 Dedenne GX and 1 Heatran GX, the card's not live as often. Quite often you'll find yourself using Cherish Ball for Dedenne GX to Pokemon Communication away, and that's kind of the way that our format is formed because we don't have a lot of great Pokemon search. So this card's super cool, but not as good as our other search cards. Fiery Flint. So when we added Blacephalon into this deck, we wanted to add this card back in so that we could use Fireball Circus for more damage. Quite often I'll use Giant Hearth, grab 2 fire energies, discard 2 fire energies with Fiery Flint, search out 4 fire energies. The goal of this deck is to just thin your deck as much as possible because you only play 4 Welders and you want to have them at all times. Quite often you can win the game in like 4 turns, stuff like that. So don't be too worried about being disruptive. Again, just follow the rule with the Victini Prism Star of always keeping at least a Fire Crystal or 2 fire energies and a Welder for Victini Prism Star so you don't run out of options. And speaking of Fire Crystal, that's a good way to jump into this card. Original list for this deck ran up to 18 energies. I felt like cutting it down, changing things out, going with less energies, more fire crystals seemed correct over time. You don't really get a lot of wiggle room with Blacephalon, but Blacephalon can still hit for over 500. It can hit for 500 damage. This deck has just enough to make everything work. So if you're struggling with it, Fire Crystal is basically turned into ways to get extra energy in play. It's a lot better than just having extra copies of energies, because over the course of the game, the amount of Ninetales and stuff that you use, you will use the Fire Crystal more often than not. Friend Ball, so this is kind of a cute card that one of my friends told me about. So we got search your deck for a Pokemon with the same type as one of your opponent's Pokemon, play and reveal it. So with the format being basically 40% ReshiZard almost at any given time on the global metagame, then you got other Blacephalon decks and Green's ReshiZard and decks that run Dedenne, decks that run Feeny, decks that run... Basically, all of these are popular types in the deck, so Friend Ball is quite often a live card. In your local areas, obviously monitor what's being played before you decide playing a card like this. But if you're going to a major event, I quickly can assume that the globalized metagame is going to include a lot of things where Friend Ball is going to be live. So I think for best of 3 or any major events, Friend Ball is very good. For any local event, I've had success with it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your area has the same decks that mine does. Pal-Pad, so with 4 welders, once we use them, we want to shuffle at least 2 of them back. This card can save your butt in a pinch because you just want to have access to your welders again and again. It's the only supporter we have, so Pal-Pad it is. Pokecom, so you can reveal a Pokemon from your hand, whatever, we play 19 of them. Like I was explaining with Cherish Ball, you could put Pokemon away, grab Pokemon with Cherish Ball, put them back into the deck. This allows us to search out whatever we're looking for. No barrier to entry at all. Switch. Sometimes you're going to have a Turtonator that you let go of all the energies to use Explosive Jet, and your opponent's just going to use like a Naganadel GX to snipe on the bench, or maybe they're just going to go pass. Switch is a great way to get out of that position, or get out of a Jirachi, or switch your attacker, or maybe you want to attack with Heatran. It's one of the most basic cards we have in the game, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad card. It's one of the most useful cards in this deck, so make sure you hold on to it as a resource. It's very important. Giant Hearth, so kind of the big cook in What's Up. So you could just discard a card from your hand, grab 2 fires. So you can see this deck revolves around grabbing fires for Ninetales, attaching for your turn, Welder. Giant Hearth is definitely going to be there to kind of save your butt. Heat Factory. There's no reason for us, especially with our limited consistency that we have in this deck, or available to this deck I should say, is dumping a fire and drawing 3 is not bad by any means. It's a great way to bump out of our opponent's Giant Hearth or any other stadium that they have. Power Plant can be annoying for this deck, especially with the Dedenne GX. So having extra stadiums in this deck, and especially ones that can draw you card, can save you, especially after your opponent plays a reset stamp. Welder, there's not much I can say about this card. It probably should be banned. It's ridiculous. The fact that you could attach 2 fire energies as a supporter, that's amazing. And then drawing 3 cards, that makes it amazingly broken. Welder is just absolutely bonkers. I fully recommend playing any deck that has Welder in it. So for the foreseeable future, unless this card does get banned, Welder seems like you should just be playing decks that revolve around Welder, or a deck that counters a deck that plays around Welder. Skateboard. So it's basically for Jirachi to get around Stellar Wish, because Stellar Wish does put you asleep, so this allows you to retreat for free even though you're asleep. But if you're playing against something that paralyzes you, that could be really cool too. So, and then we got 13 fire energies here. So, like I said, it's enough to make the deck run. It's enough to knock out a Dedenne. With a Victini, it's enough to do whatever you want with the deck. You got to play within your sandbox, but this is what we got for the deck here. So, like I said, take a screenshot of it. Let's see how it goes. We're going to play a couple games with this deck, or we'll see how many games we get up to. Because I already filmed the ReshiZard video, so if you want to see exactly what a similar deck in action is, check that out. Beyond that, this is what we got going on here, so yeah, alright, let's jump into it. Okay, cool, so I guess we'll see exactly what type of deck that we're going to be playing against here. Just waiting for our opponent to load up the game. PTCGO things, let's go with heads. So we'll see exactly what's going on here. Won the flip, so it's better to go first. I guess it's kind of deceiving that I'm playing ReshiZard sleeves. So, since I have Switch, I'm probably just going to send up Turtonator since it has more HP. I'm going first anyways, so I can decide what I want to do with ball picks. So let's see exactly how that goes. Playing Ninetales, Fires, Catchers, Welders. I have no clue what this deck is, so it's exciting. Maybe it's a new deck that we'll see at Atlantic City. So selecting the started Pokemon, they got some cool sleeves. Definitely will draw some. Thank you. No, we're not playing any of that down yet. So Heat Factory seems super simple here. Okay, things can turn up, right? We can always go Stellar Wish, see how that goes. Stellar Wish into an Escape Board into another Stellar Wish. So this deck can kind of evolve as we're playing it. Draw some more cards. Can we get a Welder? Okay, so you wanna know what? I don't view this as a bad turn one at all. I'm gonna Welder onto Turtonator. They don't play any water Pokemon, so I'm not that worried about what our opponent can do. I'd probably just want to attach an energy there, and then put a... Probably going to keep a Vulpix right now. The only reason why I want to keep a Vulpix right now, just in case I have to put a Victini down, I don't want to lose that option in this matchup, especially if we're leading with a Turtonator. Okay, cool. So let's just go pass. Hopefully our opponent uses Roar against us this turn. That'd be really cool. But again, I'm not entirely sure what our opponent's playing. Maybe they're playing a combination of the Alolan Ninetales GX and the new Alolan Ninetales. That would stop it. Those are some fun Vulpix though. That's for sure. See what our opponents. They're using Heat Factory. Wonder if they're having about as bad as a hand as us. Okay, so they got another Alolan Vulpix out. Dedenne, so that means we could always use Friend Ball for Dedenne. So good thing I didn't play the Vulpix down. Don't know exactly why they're playing fire types though. What could they be playing in their deck with rare candy? So it seems kind of weird. Okay, so Charizard deck? That seems kind of fitting. Welder. So it looks like our opponent's getting set up with their deck. No issues here for me. I'd actually almost want to attack with a Volcanion here if that's a possibility, because that would just knock this out without discarding any energies. So we'll see exactly how next turn goes. Lots of options, lots of options. And I know they played Custom Catchers off their mulligan, so there's a Turtonator. So many Pokemon. I think before I do anything, I probably just want to go Heat Factory first, just to see what we can grab out of this deck. Let's go Acrobike. See exactly what Acrobike brings. There's a Dedenne, so I'm like okay with that, I think. I don't really want to pitch this whole hand away. With the Dedenne, there's a lot of important cards. Let's go Friend Ball. Let's get out a Ninetales, because that sounds really good. So there's the Ninetales. And, have we already put a Dedenne in this card pile? No. Go Cherish Ball to thin one more card out of the deck. Actually, let's go for a Heatran GX. If I don't get it, I'm not using Dedenne this turn, so Stellar Wish. So we got a Switch and we got a Welder. I know Switch would be pretty good. Yeah, you want to what? Let's just go for a Switch. Switch, we could also get a Welder off our other Jirachi. And then we're not like so worried about getting everything out there. So let's go Stellar Wish. Welder is cool. Maybe we'll just knock out their active if that's the case. So let's go Welder on 1-2. Load up this and see what else it brings. So we did get a Fiery Flint. We don't need all of these cards. Let's just get a lot of fires out. And that's what we have left for fires right now. But we can still attach another one. So let's just go attach here. Retreat, Turtonator. And let's go Explosive Jet, discarding 2. I'm fine with just knocking out the Alolan Vulpix. I want to keep some more energies in my hands. Because I'm not entirely sure if our opponent's playing whatever they're playing. Maybe they're playing Charizard GX. Maybe they're playing Charizard from Team Up. Cherish Ball is probably going to grab an Alola Ninetales GX. We're probably going to focus on their GX attackers anyways, without really worrying about what else they could do in this game. So we'll see how that kind of plays out. So there's one GX attacker, there's another one. So they're just probably using it for Mysterious Guidance to search out Charizard pieces. So we will quickly see how that works out for them. And we'll find out what Charizard they're actually playing. Based off the cards that they're playing, I'm assuming it's going to be the Team Up Charizard. Ooh, Custom Catcher. I'm actually fine if they knock out this Heatran GX. It wouldn't make me too upset. How many do they have in there? 6? Okay. There's a Welder. It's weird that they're playing Welder, though. Maybe they are playing Charizard GX. It's really weird. It's a different combination of cards, I guess. Unique. Like, I'm really hoping our opponent doesn't evolve this turn, and they just have that Charmander waiting. Because the Charizard from Team Up powers itself up. Okay, there's a Charmeleon. Another Charmander. Maybe they're just going to hit for 30? Nope, there's double Custom Catcher. I'm actually okay with them using Fire Fang there, because we're just going to die from burn, but like, whatever. Okay. Let's go for this. So they've already used 2 customs. That's completely fine. Let's go Heat Factory. Let's Palpad a couple of these Welders back, so we have access to those. I don't really want our opponent to have access to Heat Factory anymore. It's just going to come down to, like, I don't know exactly what I want to do here. Do I want to just knock out one of their let's go for, how many Fire Crystals have I used? Absolutely 0. Absolutely 0 it is. So let's go Pokemon Communication away this Victini. Just got another card to discard. Let's say Jirachi. And let's go for 9 Temptation. So we're going to bring up something here. Let's bring up Ninetales. And I might pay for not knocking out the Charmeleon, but I just want to start knocking out GX Pokemon. Why would I discard 2 to knock out 1 when that's basically doubling my amount of turns in the game? So let's go, we could probably put down one of these other Pokemon. Blacephalon seems better at this point. And let's go Dedenne. Let's go Cherish Ball, get another card back out. And see what Acrobike really brings us. Are you serious? No! No! Here we have to go for Victini because we'll run out of energies otherwise. We should have other Fire Crystals anyways. Let's just double check to see what we have left in this deck. I'm fine discarding a Giant Hurt, that sounds fine. We have no switching cards at all. and 2 fire crystals. Good to know, good to know. That was super, super, super unfortunate. Maybe we'll get one off of our prize cards. So let's go 1, 2, 3, and take one off the Ninetales, and there's a knockout. We've used 2 switch, 1 escape board. So we know we have a switch and a skateboard in our prize. Fire crystal, okay, okay, okay. Those are literally the 2 best prize cards we could have grabbed. It's like I'm magic in this. So we'll see exactly what our opponent's gonna do here. Heat Factory, sure, whatever. It's not like I was using Giant Hearth anyways, with 0 fire energies left. Welder. I don't know what our opponent's doing with their welders. What attack could they potentially be doing? I was gonna say maybe they'd be playing the new shiny Charizard, but something's gotta come out here unless they prize all their Charizards. They're playing that one, really? I don't know if that one makes sense with Welder. Because if you look at here, Roaring Resolve, you could just put 2 damage counters and kind of get whatever you want going on. There's another one. I was not expecting a Charizard deck, but putting up a decent fight so far. Hopefully they don't like reset Stammy or anything. But at least I have all like the nice little pieces available in the deck. So I feel pretty good about it. Like I feel pretty good that I'm winning this game in 2 turns. So there's 180. We have the guaranteed knockout with Victini, I'm pretty sure. Yep, I'm probably going to try to go for knocking out the Dene and then just like guaranteeing everything. So let's go Fire Crystal, 1, 2, 3. That seems good. Let's put the Dene down so now that we can guarantee our other Fire Crystal out of our deck. Or we could have guaranteed it off of Stellar Wish. Now, no matter what we do, we can make it happen. So let's go, before I go ahead and do anything crazy, so if I take 3 out of the discard pile, that will put us at 5, and then I can use Heat Factory, got it. So 1, 2, 3. So we're at 5 energies in their discard pile. We're going to use Ninetales, 9 Temptations. So now we're at 7. Bring that up. Let's use Stellar Wish here first. We'll just grab another Fire Crystal. Just in guarantee that we'll get everything. I think we would have guaranteed everything anyways, unless we just drew our 3 trainers. Let's go for Heat Factory. We're at 0 cards left in our deck, getting 8 energies, but let's power up another one of our Pokemon. We're all ready with whatever we want to do. And Victini, we're not going to deck out here. We're going to use Infinity, get a knockout, shuffle all of our energies back in. We're down to 1 prize card, and we have 1, 2, 3 ways to get the knockout. So no matter what our opponent does, even getting the switch and the Pokecom and having a Fire Crystal, I feel completely confident that this game is ours for the taking. So we'll see exactly what our opponent decides to do here. And I know for a fact that we're going to be able to see every single card in our deck next turn. 2 damage counters, sure. You can do a lot of cool plays with the Dene and Blacephalon. There's a ReshiZard. I probably could even knock out that ReshiZard if I wanted to. Not that I really want to try to, but definitely got options. Still have our GX attack in play. So, continuous Blaze Ball, that's cool. And our opponent should probably just concede the game. We'll make it easy for them. We knew that we were gonna draw into that, so you want to what? Let's make it fun here. Yeah, our opponent, good timing. So that's how that game goes. That was kind of cool. Playing, I don't know what our opponent's playing. Got some cool magma sleeves. Let's call it coin flip tails. And winning the flip again. Yeah, I would definitely want to go first here. So let's see exactly what we can get set up. Jirachi starts good. Welder, Giant Hearth. Literally 0 complaints here on my behalf. Hello, Matterhorn. You have a good deck. Hello. We're going first. We don't want to bench any Pokemon down. Yep. So we'll see exactly what's up. Opponent looks like we're playing against a mirror match, so let's try to make that happen. First things first is probably want to experiment, see what we can get through with Cherish Ball, get a couple fires. Probably should have checked through the deck a little bit more. That's my bad. We'll put Volcanion down, or yeah, Volcanion. I always got Volcanion and Heatran mixed up for some reason. Let's go Welder onto the Volcanion. Let's go Pokemon Communication away Heatran. We can now search through the deck. Got Vulpix, we got Ninetales. This seems fine. Just get a Vulpix out there. I think it makes sense just to attach to Vulpix, put in the skateboard there, and then I'm fine pitching the Key Factory. We have everything we ever want. Another Vulpix, amazing. Let's go Fiery Flints away, Fire, and a Jirachi, so we're ready for whatever we have coming next turn. And I'm trying to get into another Welder if that's possible, so I'm going to try to get it off Acrobike first. Let's grab the Heatran, that seems more important. And before we put down that other Vulpix, let's go Stellar Wish. So we're all ready next turn with another Welder. You can see that we have all of our available attackers ready to attack for whatever we need to attack next turn. Ninetales would be the best ideal case to get next turn, so we're just going to pass here. Can't complain about that turn. We'll see exactly what our opponent does. This is basically the best setup you could ask for in Mirror. I don't think I discarded anything huge. No, not at all. Like, this is pretty primo. Since our opponent's going right into a Stellar Wish, they might not have a lot of options. Maybe they'll play a Pokemon down and switch into it. See how that turns out. Fire Energy. Cherish Ball, okay. There's a Dedenne. Let's see what they're discarding. That's a rough one. That's really rough. Sorry Matterhorn, if you watched this video, be sure to let out your gripes in the comments. I'm sorry. And we just want to eat around whatever our opponent has access to. There's a Welder. Maybe they'll go Welder over to the Dedenne. Oh, they discarded a Welder off a Giant Hearth. That's kind of crazy. Okay, there's a ReshiZard. Those are the Pokemon we definitely want to just knock out. It's possible for us to knock out that ReshiZard next turn if we get a Ninetales out. So that's going to be our first and foremost goal. Another Cherish Ball. So whenever you play GXs down in the mirror match, and you don't have a Ninetales out in play, you're leaving yourself kind of vulnerable. So I'd say that that's something that I'd recommend there. There's a Heatran, cool. Maybe they're going to switch into Heatran. Nope, they're going to sacrifice Dedenne? Okay, let's go Giant Hearth. Discard a few of these. Or discard a Fire and get a few of those. Here I'm okay with just getting a Heatran because they can't bring it up. I'm assuming they play Ninetales. Let's go Welder. Maybe we'll draw into Ninetales. And that's what we did. So we're just going to knock out that Reshi. I'm okay with that. But first, before we do that, let's go for Acrobikes, see what we can get. There's a Victini Prism Star. That was going to be my next question. Let's go Palpad, get back a couple Welders here into our deck so we have a higher chance of getting one off Stellar Wish. Hopefully we could rip it. Amazing, this deck is working perfectly here. And let's just wipe 2 energies off their board with Heatran. So let's go 9 Temptations, 1, 2. Bring up ReshiZard. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's another energy. Let's just go retreat, do this, use Burning Road. 3. And there's a knockout on their ReshiZard. Turn 2, drawing 3 prize cards. We are all good here. Now it is possible that our opponent will get a respawn knockout with their Heatran GX that they do have in their hands. But we'll see exactly how it goes. Fire Crystal was amazing there for us. So unless they just go Reset Stamp on us and knock out Jirachi, actually I'd be fine with that too. It seems pretty rough for what our opponent's trying to do here. There's a couple Palpads. Or a Palpad for a couple Welders. We'll see if they're able to get another Welder. There's a Giant Hearth. I don't know if that's super helpful for them. I just want to try to take out some Pokemon where we can. Maybe they'll go Welder here. Well played. See what our opponent's doing here. Yeah, that seems pretty likely, so I get it. We had everything needed. Would have been really good for us. Okay, everyone. So that's basically what we got going on for today. I hope that you enjoyed watching those games. You can see that we got 2 huge wins against our deck. The deck's completely set up, even it went from having no setup to getting a great setup turn 1 to having our opponent concede because we got a knockout on our Reshiram Charizard on the 2nd turn. You can see that this deck fully functions without using Reshiram and Charizard GX, and your little Pokemon can use all of your big damage attacks for just 1 prize card. So I fully think that this is one of the best decks, if not the best deck, going forward for any major event or small event. So here's what we got. Remember to take a screenshot of the list, save it. I think it's going to be really worthwhile. Hopefully we see it up on limitless.com soon after it gets some placements at regionals, because it's kind of an emerging deck, very much the same as Ability Zard, but without Ability Zard. So thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like, share with your friends, and to find out when our new videos are coming out, subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of great videos. Like I said, I've already covered Ability Zard, Quagnag. I know that Eric and Xander have been covering other decks and Carl's been streaming. You can check out some more exclusive content on our Patreon by becoming a patron at patreon.com/rarecandytcg. If you want, you can support our channel too by picking up some merch at rarecandytcg.com. Got some cool stuff over there as well, so be sure to peep that out. As for me, I'm Zach Lesage. You can follow me on Twitter at ZLesage Pokemon. Thanks so much, everyone. That's it for today. Zach signing off.